Welcome back.
Good old Stellar Bay. Only place on the planet that don't stink of sulfur. On account of it stinking like fish instead.
You reckon the smell ever goes away? Maybe the wind off the sea helps.
Watch
We
out!
can handle this.
It burns! Nice hit!
scavenging here, and a Mantiqueen showed up. Then Raptidons. It was a void-blasted mess. I ran in here and, now the door's locked. Little help? It's easier than it sounds, alright? Next time you get chased by Raptidons, you let me know the rationality of your decisions. Phew. Thanks, mister. My buddy had a key, but I ain't heard him in a while. He locked me in here and took off. Probably got munched. So look for a dead guy, I guess. Or a rat. Maybe it's in a rat belly. Gross. What do you mean? It's locked. Wait, upward? Oh, my eternal soul, it worked!
Ah, phew. Thank you so much. It was getting all stuffy in there, and I was getting a mite lightheaded, and I think maybe I was gonna die. Now I'm out here, and I'm headed back to Amber Heights.
Still landing yourself in trouble, eh, Hux?
Oh, hi, Nyoka. You mind giving me an escort back home? Oh, you're traveling with someone. Never mind. Oh, sure, I'm a runner. I'm used to getting all dizzy and... Hey, who's your identical, slightly blurry friend? But I ain't got nothing on me. How's about a heaping helping of appreciation and respect? That's true. Okay, fine. Here. Thanks a lot, mister.
What do you think of the unreliable Parvati?
There's always something to fix, and it's neat working in the Aether. I always took Atmo for granted. Now, if I drill through the hull, we all suffocate. Exciting, you know?
I'm not sure I wanted to know that. Being in space sets me on edge enough.
You know about stellar emissions? Actually, I probably shouldn't tell you about those. I mean, not unless you want to know how we're all likely to get spacer's lung.
Right. Okay. When we get back to the ship, I'm drinking this conversation right out of my recollection.
Help! Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. No! I just stepped in a dead man's blood. And I think one of the flies landed on my mouth. If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
Whatever you do, don't mention talk. Never hear the end. Hey. Hey.
You startled me. Don't sneak up on a person like that, huh? You again! You've really got to stop doing that!
Sorry. Just spooked me, was all.
Even Stellar Bay ain't safe these days. What's the world coming to? don't know what it is, but my gun's been acting funny. Used to be, I had to correct for a bit of leftward drag. Got used to standing just so, and after a while, it put a thorn in my side, something awful. Lately, though, it ain't pulling. I find my stance much improved.
Oh, that's real good to hear. It took me a while to... never mind.
What? Girl, have you been touching my stuff?
I'm sorry, I should have asked. I just got real bored, and I seen you leaning, and the gun was sitting right there.
You know, the last time I caught someone messing with my equipment, I threw him in a sulfur pool. But I appreciate the help. You want to make modifications, just come ask me, all right? I ain't gonna bite.
Be careful with your new friends in Amber Heights. They're not the most reliable types. Anyway, what can I do for you? You weren't supposed to look. I asked you to delete it. Oh, yes. No doubt someone else was having a laugh at my expense before you. This has been my albatross. The great shame of my career. I give MSI everything. My work, my youth, my left kidney, and for years, I was a joke to them. In charge of a scrap heap of a city, abandoned by the board and surviving only through the hypocrisy of our trading partners. I hadn't thought of it that way. But perhaps there's something to that. Thank you for that. Was there something else? Oh, yes. I'm going to be up all night with this. All those blanks waiting to be filled, boxes waiting to be ticked.
Try to control yourself, sir.
Have you any idea how powerful this is? Corporations have been toppled with less. But that's exactly what this is. The world isn't changed with guns and speeches, much as Graham and his followers would like to think, but rather with meticulous documentation. And the Bill of Liquidation/Transfer Form 52 is one of the most formidable pieces of data entry in all of Halcyon. One false stroke can invalidate the entire document.
It's true. One of the old execs gave herself a stroke trying to fill out the exemption section.
For our part, a Bill of Liquidation/Transfer Form 52 will protect our holdings on Monarch by temporarily assigning them to a pass-through entity once we drop our bomb on the board.
What Mr. Nandi means is that we have some rather momentous information to deliver to the board. Or we will, with your help.
Help us with this final matter, and we won't need to broadcast anymore. You have my word. I have reason to believe that one of the other corporations is operating on Monarch, illegally and in secret.
Is it really illegal if the board's the one that makes the rules in the first place?
If we can find proof, I can use that as leverage to encourage certain powers that be to accept our Bolt 52 and reinstate us on the board. You really think so? I admit I've been hatching this scheme for quite some time. I just needed someone capable to help me carry it out. If someone is operating here, then Catherine's almost certainly supplying them out of Fallbrook. Perhaps she could be convinced to tell you where they are. That's part of the problem. She has certain ambitions for Stellar Bay, and I fear my asking her would give her the leverage she's been looking for.
Don't get yourself worked up, sir. It's perfectly natural to have a healthy fear of her.
Oh, she's not fun scary like you, just scary. But that's why you'll be equipped to handle her. Once you, subtly work out where this corporate facility might be, bring back proof of its operation. Maybe some nice letterhead. Or someone working there. That would do it. I knew you were the right person for the job. I suppose I'll leave you to it. You're just as rigid as the old executive committee. Why, we've hardly been able to get a clear message out until recently.
When Graham finally shut up.
It isn't easy keeping a town like Stellar Bay afloat, especially without the board's backing. We need that frequency to reach our trading partners. Indeed. That's why it's imperative that MSI be reinstated onto the board. If we can find proof that one of the companies on the board is also active on Monarch, that'll give me all the leverage I need. You have my word.
What job did the board assign you when you came of age? Bet it was something real neat, like professional flexing.
Wilderness patrol. Plenty of folk traveling on foot out there, even back when there were roads. I protected them from raps and the like.
Oh gosh. And here I was jawing about how I was watching your back. I'm probably more like to get in your way.
Everyone needs someone watching after them. Even me. Even if I ain't keen to admit it sometimes.
Incoming! You all got different Saltuna here on Monarch. Ain't that neat?
You come to Monarch and that's what you're excited about. You ought to get out more.
I'm getting out right now.
like a wrapped among the rocks.
I think I'm setting myself on fire. We didn't get on the ground that time.
Well, gotta admit, you're tougher than I expected.
I keep thinking that you can disarm those.
Stay back. I may be wounded, but I'm still armed. How'd you get past my traps anyway?
I love that I got knocked into the conversation.
Just remember, I still got bullets, in case you get any funny ideas. What are you doing out here anyway? That feels a mite better. Wish I had something to give you, but I gnawed through my last Spratwurst an hour ago. Cave like this makes a handy place to store goods or hide out for a spell. And the traps usually keep gawkers out. Catherine had us making drops for some big-shot client out here. And before you ask, I don't know who they are. Or were. The whole point of making drops in the middle of nowhere was to keep their identity and whereabouts a secret. The Marauders knew we were coming. Rigged the bridge with explosives and everything. If they found us, my guess is they found the client too. Sounds right. If you got the sand to go after him, I'm sure Catherine can reward you for your trouble. Me? I'm headed back to Fallbrook, just as soon as I've caught my breath.
Hell of a job.
How am I not drunk right now? How's my vision or movement or anything not impaired?
Huh? Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts?
Sebastian, you ever get your hands on those pheromone sacs? Manipillars ain't gonna hunt themselves, you know.
I must have hunted a dozen, but I couldn't find a single sack on any of them. Must be looking in the wrong place.
Manipillars ain't got pheromone sacs. I just told him that so he'd stop asking me for advice.
At least I'm getting a good haul of claws in the process. You're in good hands, traveling with Monarch's top merc. Still, if you want any rat glands or manticlaws, I've got you covered. I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something.
Mr. Pickett? Franklin Pickett from Edgewater?
That's him. He'd been here years, but he always talked about going back to Edgewater one day.
Sure. Mr. Pickett used to run the community center outside Edgewater. He had this grand idea to make it a museum for halcyon life. As my dad told it, Mr. Pickett was always going on about getting a manta queen for the last display. He left the Vale, gosh, years ago.
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Manta queens, especially.
I kept telling him he was a fool for chasing Mana Queen tail. Anyone looking to get familiar with a queen is liable to become the bitch's supper.
Oh my. Well, I hope he's all right. Haven't seen him in a while. Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them. Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett, but I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him.
Captain, can we look for him? I'd feel awful if somebody from home was in trouble and we didn't do nothing.
Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal?
Thanks, Captain.
All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here, and head past the abandoned ruins.
Past the ruins? That's Manta territory, all right. My professional opinion is that we leave that idiot to his well-deserved fate. No offense.
Last Mana Queen I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett still out there, too. Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well, but we can hope, right? I want them to be happy.
Oh, I see. I actually unlocked pickpocketing. I just didn't realize I did. Wait, drug mixing? You can actually mix the things? I thought that was just like, once you run out, it uses the other.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia. I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on. Not to worry. If I never buy another Raptidon tongue, it'll be too soon. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Nandi's giving me that back-to-work look. Anyhow, thank you.
Thank you again for retrieving the bolt. It's every bit as complex as I'd heard, but I'm up to the challenge. Anyway, what can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. Ah, so you've heard about our prior acquaintance. I suppose you're right. Graham's always had a way with words. Strange as it may seem, I suspect he'd have quite the corporate career if he weren't so radical. Graham seemed like a reasonable man years ago, and we both agreed that MSI's treatment of its workers was untenable. I thought reforms would be enough. I didn't realize he wanted to abolish the corporate system entirely.
It's straight bullshit is what it is. A fabrication rich folks use to preserve their investments by leaving a lot of people here to die slow.
Nyoka has the right of it. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
Well, I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. Back then, it was known as Terra 1. Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
That ain't fair. They didn't leave on account of the hazards. They left on account of their cowardice. The hazards just gave them a reason to put to paper.
Sharp as ever, Nyoka. And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. That's also what I thought. Oh, we were young and bold then, not unlike yourself. We saw the chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. Indeed. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. That's what I thought. But the senior executives laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else. In a manner of speaking, many of us stayed behind, in an act of quiet but firm defiance. As the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't think I realized how far they'd stoop. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Yeah, that'd go a long way toward rebuilding our homes.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship. Oh, believe me, I've learned that much. But I'm also not going to leave MSI at a disadvantage. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. What can I do for you? Excellent timing on your part. I worked my fingers to nubs, but I've finally completed the Bolt 52 form. I dare say it will be my second greatest achievement after the reformations.
You're getting ahead of yourself again.
So I am. Do you have this cartridge? I knew there was something going on. This is exactly the proof we need. The board will have to welcome us back now. I'll transmit this data along with the completed Bolt 52 right away. After that, we'll sit back and quietly wait for the board to respond.
That means no more broadcasts from us.
think I'd see Tucker here again.
Going silent.
You're lucky it was this, else it'd have been a hell of a lot tougher.
I almost feel bad for you. We're pretty good at this.
Watch it. His tools don't just stink. They'll take a toe off.
I don't got much use for sulfur in my own work. Neat that it's here, though.
Libations on me, folks!
You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? He'll probably be wanting it back. You see any sign of him? Funny place to leave a journal. But what about Mr. Pickett? That's pretty sad. He sure seemed like he knew what he was doing.
He used to tell the kids crazy stories about halcyon wildlife. Later I learned most of it was wrong, but it was the thought that counted. Then one day he just disappeared. Never heard anything about him again.
Anyone fool enough to chase after a queen is pretty fucking far from the know what they're doing class of people.
So this journal is all he left behind? Seems like I ought to read it. Looks mighty long, though. I bet she'll like that. She's real enthusiastic about all sorts of monsters.
It'd be nice for there to be some good come out of this.
In any case, I appreciate you tracking down Mr. Pickett for me. Here's some bits for your trouble.
Smells like wrapped in here. Oh, it does work. I brought some mushrooms.
What do you think you're doing? Carry on. Hey. Huh? Move. As you were. I don't have time for this. Move along. Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest Tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths. I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? But what are you doing on Monarch? Maybe we're not so isolated as I thought. So, what can I do for you? Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. Right. So the thing with Isaac is he didn't know where to stop. He'd get stuck on something, and he just couldn't let it go. Sometimes he'd drink purpleberry punch by the liter. Other times he'd keep betting on a losing team. Started owing the wrong people money. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
What did Stellar Bay's engineer name your canning machine?
I don't rightly know. That'd have been Guster, I think? I'd ask him, but he fell in the machine once, so... Could call it Guster's Demise, or the Guster Crusher? Oh, that's got a ring to it.
Forget I asked.
Who the fuck are you? This ain't your alley.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Not so fast. You look like you got some bits. I'm thinking we take them off your corpse. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business. I don't think so. You're a loose end now.
Here they come! You hurt!
Oh.
Who the fuck are you? This ain't your alley. I don't have time for this. Huh? Carry on. As you were.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business.
Nice one! We made it!
Don't worry about me, Captain. Mama and I'll work this out.
My boy says he'll only stay a few days before returning to Amber Heights. Can't you speak to him for me?
Don't drag other people into this, Mama. I'm a grown man and an iconoclast. It's time for me to make my own path in life.
I just don't know why you want to leave, Tuk-Tuk. You know how dangerous it is out there with the Raptidons and the Mantisaurs.
Enough, Mama. I made my decision. I won't let fear run my life any longer. Thank you, Captain. I got it from here.
Oh, the data on that cartridge was even more damning than I could have hoped. And to have something on UDL of all the corporations. You've given us quite the advantage. Anyway, what can I do for you? But that's terrible. What happened? But that means we won't be able to log their testimonies. If there's one thing I've been hoping to re-establish in Stellar Bay, it's proper documentation for legal matters. Always a shame when tempers get the better of good sense. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services.
Carry on.
Watch out! Ah, this factory offers the loveliest aromas. Like if you cooked borscht over a sulfur pit.
Incoming!
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you're keeping Nyoka company, you'll need a few to keep up with her.
Ain't a person on this planet who can keep up with me. Wait, we are talking about a drinking contest, right?
Now what can I do for you?
I hear those rich people in Byzantium pay a handsome bit for rap musk.
Hey, Velma, I got your caffeinoid pills.
You're a lifesaver. Hope Abigail didn't give you a hard time.
Just the usual. Any word on Braxton?
Nothing. Don't know how much longer I can cover for him either. Give me those pills, will you?
Here you go. You know, you might consider a real night's sleep instead. Plenty of work to do, especially with so many no-shows.
Great work.
If you want to talk to the boss, she's in the back of the warehouse. Business is big. Wouldn't mind smelling like saltuna. That's so nice.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Did she now? Well, I can see I was mistaken. Because if Catherine really had sent you, there'd be a lot more expletives in your message. I hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Caleb Herrick runs the autoloader operators. He thinks I don't pay them enough for flipping switches and turning dials.
So the job's easy, but you're not doing it? Something smells here. I mean, everything smells in here, but something's fishy. Wait.
He and his whole crew walked out. Say they won't come back unless I pay them more. Because we've got a budget, all right? And in case you haven't noticed, MSI doesn't exactly have a lot of spare bits on hand. Not on Monarch. Sanjar threw out the old work mandates and penalties. Tell me about it. You mind slapping him around a little while you're at it? I'm joking. Mostly. Unless you can do it without hurting his job performance. If you can find a way to get him back to work, I'll make it worth your while. Check the yacht club. He's usually there. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind? Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the Saltuna, fat and mostly tumor-free. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple. Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work.
I'll wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire sublight contractors at this rate. For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Not on your life. Maybe so, but I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. Then he'll have to come back. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home. Near the diner.
You'd steal from your own people? That's low, ma'am.
That's business. Someone's got to keep the lights on. Fine by me.
This is fun, isn't it? Nice views, a little exercise and fresh air. Well, and exploring air.
It is a trek, isn't it? Almost like we don't have working lifts or roads.
Why am I just constantly on fire?
Ah, this factory offers the loveliest aromas. Like if you cook borscht over a sulfur pit.
Careful, you're hurt!
I think I found a bug where I can't get out of this effect. Like it's just stuck at 12 seconds forever. Maybe if I save and reload it. Nope. Oh, it finally went out. It did work. That's such a bad glitch.
Oh. I'm glad I didn't eat, because the smell here is 100% off. it. Here we go.
After all that, none of them had a card? I guess I have to come back here with a different thing. I think I have to get a disguise of theirs. I guess we'll figure out how to do that in the next video. Thanks for watching.